Short to the most paid. Soon as my dough's straight, I throw the wifey.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to this week's episode of Process Sports Radio. Once again, I'm your host, Justin. Glad to have you guys here. Hope you guys are all staying safe. I hope all the fathers out there had a great Father's Day. I know I certainly did, spending Sunday with my dad, having a nice dinner with him. Just enjoying the sunlight here in Vancouver, and just a really nice time, spending time with my dad and stuff like that. Just, with how busy everybody's in their daily schedules and stuff like that. You don't get to spend as much time as you want with your parents, but definitely spending time with my dad like that was really nice and really relaxing. And I hope all you guys out there did too. So once again, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. I hope you guys are all doing well and safe. Speaking of safety, hopefully, it looks like the second wave is coming near COVID-19. Hopefully all of us are staying safe out there, continuing to practice social distancing, washing your hands, taking care of your elders that you love and stuff like that. It's getting really bad in the States right now, and I'm worried that it's going to start coming back into Canada. We've seen it, go back up in Ontario. Here in BC, we're probably the best province that's kind of weathered the curve. Hopefully it doesn't shoot up again. So definitely everybody stay safe and do your part. And hopefully if we all do our part, we'll somewhat get back to normalcy. Looks like sports might be coming back soon as well. The NHL has Edmonton, Toronto, and Vancouver on the short list of hub cities. So I'm almost certain that Vancouver will be a hub city, just with our numbers, like I mentioned before, and all of that. Because it looks like in Vegas, the numbers are blowing up again, right? So it looks like that whole Vegas thing might possibly be out of the cards now with the COVID-19 pandemic blowing up in Vegas. So definitely going to be interesting to see what happens with the BC government and how the government's going to legislate Vancouver being an NHL hub city. So that's going to be interesting. Before that, and you guys know the drill, remember, please like and subscribe to this video and to my YouTube channel. I actually just dropped my website, processportsradio.com. Check it out. It has all my links on there to all my social media, a couple clips of interviews, and other ways to contact me. So I just dropped that, so check that out. Remember, follow me on Instagram at Process Sports _ Process Sports. So for Twitter, Process Sports Radio for Facebook. You know the drill. And like I said, subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, whatever you do, you know where to find me. So today I want to talk about who I think in the next, say, 10 years, who is going to be the biggest athlete Canada has ever produced, right? Because, July 1st is coming up, Canada Day, right? So think about being Canadian, that whole Canadiana theme, right? I think it's a clear choice about who's going to be the best athlete in Canada for the next 10 years and beyond. It's a guy who actually has ties to Vancouver, who's from Edmonton. He goes by the name of Alfonzo Davies. I don't know if you guys have known, if you guys have been living under a rock, but Alfonzo Davies, the superstar left back from Bayern Munich, who just won the Bundesliga Rookie of the Year. So a little bit of a backstory on Alfonzo Davies, right? He plays for Bayern Munich, one of the biggest clubs in Europe, right? The best club in Germany. They've won the Bundesliga 8 straight times, right? He is considered one of the best left backs in the game of football, or soccer for those of you guys. He was just clocked at running 36 kilometers an hour, so his pace is unbelievable. And you know what the most craziest stat is? He's only 19 years old. He's only 19 years old, right? And that is something unbelievable. Alfonzo Davies is that type of player where he has such incredible pace and such a great mind, such a soccer IQ mind, where he allows the game to come to him. Like for I believe his former manager of the Whitecaps, Carl Robinson, who the Whitecaps are in very big trouble. The Whitecaps have no sense of basically any desire to win or spending money in the right areas. They just hired a CEO from a big league club like the Knicks and stuff like that, and they fired him 6 months into the job, and they put it on their sporting director, right? So the Whitecaps are in big trouble. They have all that Davies money, and they didn't spend it correctly. So the Whitecaps are definitely falling into a joke category. But going back to Davies, much more positive news with Davies. Just the way his pace is from the left back position, his ability to push the ball up is uncanny. He can control the game and push it forward to his teammates and stuff like that. It's unbelievable. The way Davies can play the game of soccer and has that mind for it is unbelievable. And another thing is he doesn't play left back. That's not a traditional position. Left back was what Bayern Munich put him into to get him in that starting lineup, right? He's a winger by trade. From the Canadian national team for the Whitecaps, he was a winger, right? He was playing more in an up front role. Here he's playing left back, but he's pushing the ball, creating that pace, creating those mismatches, right? That's what makes Davies such a great player. And you want to know why the biggest reason that Alfonzo Davies will be the biggest star over a Connor McDavid or anybody else? Because his story is truly what Canada is all about, in my opinion. About multiculturalism, about people coming from all over the world, coming to Canada to better your life, right? So he was born in Ghana in a refugee camp because his parents fled from Liberia, right, which had a bunch of civil unrest at that point in time. So he moves to Edmonton. He starts playing soccer. The Whitecaps find him. They sign him to a contract. They bring him up to their minor league, their development team ranks, and he starts for the first team. He's MLS All-Star. They sell him for the most amount of money to Bayern Munich. He just signs a 5-year deal. He's the Bundesliga Rookie of the Year. You know the drill like that, right? But the other thing is, what is the biggest sport globally that people watch? Soccer. I'm sorry, football fans. I'm sorry, basketball fans. I'm sorry, hockey fans. Globally, the biggest sport in the world is soccer. Everybody watches soccer across the world. It is the world's game, right? It's the world's game, right? And who's Canada's biggest star in soccer? Who's Canada's only transcendent superstar so far? He's only 19 years old. Alfonzo Davies. Now, male-wise. Female-wise, the Canadian women's soccer team is far and away superior to the men's soccer team. The way they develop their players, the young players that come, players like Christine Sinclair, a revolutionary player like Christine Sinclair, who's done so much for women's soccer in Canada, just even women's sport in Canada, right, is definitely amazing. But on the men's side, they haven't had that, right? So this guy named Alfonzo Davies is the face of Canadian soccer, right? And what's happening in 6 years' time? The FIFA World Cup, the world's biggest sporting tournament, is coming to Canada, right? The world's biggest sporting tournament is coming to Canada, and Canada is going to be in that World Cup. Can you think about that? Canada is going to be in a FIFA World Cup. Canada has not been in a FIFA World Cup since 1986. Before I was born, before many of you were born, right? So he's going to be the star player for Canada, the host country, one of the host countries in the world's biggest tournament. He's going to be in his prime, 26 years old. He's going to have experience with Bayern Munich. He could have won a Champions League. He'll be even better. He might have already won a FIFA Player of the Year. With the trajectory Alfonzo Davies is on, with the way the soccer is built globally, he will blow out anybody like a Connor McDavid or any NBA player like a Jamal Murray, Andrew Wiggins, or Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, right? Or anybody like that. Even a Bianca Andreescu or an Andre DeGrasse. Now, if Andre DeGrasse wins the gold medal in sprinting, then you have an argument, right? But the way it's set up globally, the biggest global superstar to come out of Canada for the next 10 years is going to be Alfonzo Davies, because he plays the world's biggest sport. He's going to be partaking in a World Cup that's in Canada, and the FIFA World Cup is the world's biggest sporting event, right? He is going to be the leader of the Canadian athlete for the next 10 years because he plays, like I just said, for one of the biggest clubs in Europe in Bayern Munich. He plays in one of the biggest leagues in Europe, in the world, soccer leagues in the world. Alfonzo Davies is going to be the best athlete possibly in Canadian history, maybe even surpassing Wayne Gretzky in popularity. Now, I'm not saying statistic-wise or anything like that, sorry, but I'm saying in popularity and global recognition, I'm telling you right now, with the trajectory Alfonzo Davies is on right now, Alfonzo Davies will be the most popular Canadian athlete of all time if he continues on this trajectory, right? So, again, kudos to Alfonzo Davies. BC Vancouver Whitecaps product. Whitecaps, get your shit in order, start spending money. You know what you got to do. Next, I want to touch on the NFL. So Jamal Adams, for you, those guys who don't know, Pro Bowl safety for the Jets, has demanded a trade for probably the fifth or sixth time in his couple years he's been in the league from the Jets. And why wouldn't you? The Jets are a joke. The Jets have been irrelevant since Big Rex Ryan was the coach and Mark Sanchez was the quarterback, right? And if you look, the one thing I want to touch upon this whole story is, if you look at the teams he wants to be traded to, you look at them. Who are they? They're the Seahawks, the Eagles, the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Cowboys, the 49ers, and the Texans. What do all those teams have other than the Texans? They have strong front office presence. They have a good GM. They have a good owner. They have a good head coach, right? And what do all those teams have, including Houston, have? They have a franchise quarterback, right? That is what separates contenders from pretenders in the NFL. The NFL is not so much on-field talent. It's how you build your team from the ownership to GM, front office staff, to head coach, coaching staff, to your star quarterback and below. You look at those teams, right? You look at the Seahawks. Who do they have? John Schneider, Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson. You look at the Eagles. They have Howie Roseman, Doug Peterson, Carson Wentz, right? You look at the Ravens. They have Harbaugh, Lamar Jackson, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. You need those pillars in your organization to have success. You look at any of the Super Bowl champions in the last 20 years. Patriots, Brady Belichick. Pittsburgh, Tomlin, Roethlisberger. Indianapolis, Dungy, Manning, right? You look at even teams like, Atlanta. They had Dan Quinn was a good coach. Matt Ryan, right? You had McVay, Goff. Even though Goff's not a franchise quarterback, in my opinion, he's still a good quarterback, right? You look at those teams that were successful in these last 20 years, right? What is the main thing they have? They have a head coach and they have a star quarterback who is a franchise quarterback, right? You need that to be successful in this league, more so than any other sport, because when you have a franchise quarterback and you have a good head coach, that makes you attractive. Why do you think Jamal Adams wants to go to those teams? Yes, Dallas is from his hometown, and Dallas is his hometown. But Dallas has, whether they sign Dak or not, they have their quarterback. Now, I don't think Dak is a top 15 quarterback, but he's still a franchise quarterback, right? They have Mike McCarthy, who's a good head coach, right? They have Jerry Jones, who is a meddling owner, but one of the best owners in all of sports, right? They have Jerry Jones. They have that structure, right? When you have structure, just like any organization in business, right? You need structure from the top on down, right? When you have that structure, you will be able to create success because everybody has a chain of command. You know the chain of command. You know where the orders flow. That is what the Jets are lacking, and that's why Jamal Adams feels disrespected. Well, yes, he's putting on that great stuff, and the Jets can spend that money that they did last year in free agency, but they don't have that organizational skeleton, that structure that they need to become successful. And that, in any sports team, is the biggest thing. You need to have structure, you need to have a good ownership, and you need to have a good front office, a good coach, and that just builds on down. Then you have a good roster. You have a smart team ahead to build a great roster. You have a coach that knows how to coach that roster. You have a star player that knows how to motivate that roster, make that roster better, right? Sports is like any business. You need to have structure and leadership from the top on down, right? And that's why somebody like Jamal Adams hates it with the Jets, because they don't have any of that, right? So that's my little rant about structure and organizations that you need in sports to become successful, right? But yeah, guys, quick episode today, not too long. So once again, like and subscribe to this video. Follow me on all social media platforms. Check out my website, processportsradio.com. And like I said, guys, take care, stay safe, and protect everybody out there. Love you guys.